going on, Wolfpack Nation? Thank you so much for tuning back in here for part 2 of our conversation here with former national champion Michael Macchiavello and former NCAA qualifier Tommy Gantt. So if you haven't checked out part 1 yet, make sure to go do that, guys. I'm telling you right now, do not miss it. Go check it out right now. Again, you will not want to miss out that conversation. So talking about here, so again, it's really kind of a conversation really in terms of kind of what the overall thoughts are on the team so far, kind of what the expectations are heading into this NCAA tournament, but also to kind of learning a little bit, in terms of, the beast that is of the NCAA Wrestling Tournament. So where we kind of left off, so we talked about, all the way through the 141. So now talking through the 149 with Tariq Wilson. I mean, and this is a guy that, for me personally, I remember a couple of years ago that it was a frustration for me, like that he would like have these great matches and then he would have these bad losses, and it was like, man, what's going on? But literally, like this year, he's been a beast, man. He's been an absolute beast. Like literally that ACC tournament match. Like, how many times did literally the guy grab Tariq's leg, and literally I said to myself, you ain't gonna get that. Oh no, Tariq's gonna turn that on you. And what do? He turned it on him. And it was like unbelievable, man. Like this guy is so long. He's a beast.
He's special, man. He's special. He's so fun to watch because he's dangerous from so many different positions. He's dangerous from everywhere, man. Yeah. He's competent in so many different positions. He's competent like in upper body and throws and from the overhook and the underhook, right? Like, and then also he has great leg attacks. And typically when you have guys that are good upper body wise, their leg attacks kind of suffer a little bit, and his are just like equally incredible. And he's a stud, man. He's a stud. Yeah. I got him winning it this year. And you know what's crazy? He's been that good. He's been that good
ever since his freshman year, man. He had who's that? Gross on the ropes.
Who ended up winning overtime. We lost him in the semifinals in overtime as a true freshman. Mm-hmm. And everybody, even you talk to other people from other teams when we talked about that match, it's like, man, honestly, I thought he had it. I thought he was winning it because Tariq got in on his leg in overtime and looked like he was about to score. And Seth Gross just does some crazy exchange and ends up scoring and putting Tariq on his back. All the same thing. But Tariq was all over his legs. And it was just like, he's about to make the NCAA finals. It's literally what's going on in your head as he gets in on the leg. You're like, oh my gosh, he's about to do it. And then just
yeah.
The tables turned.
Crazy. That was right before you wrestled too, right? It's a couple matches before.
Yeah, it was nuts.
Wishbone format. That's another thing they like to do too. They structure the mats differently for the semifinals and blood round.
Really interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. And
does that the consolation matches? 2 matches like this on the side. Okay. The other 2 matches over here on the side. So there's 4 matches, and then for the semifinals, it's just 1, 2, and they're right next to each other. So mat 1, mat 2, mat 3, mat 4. Mat 5, mat 6. So consies are wrestled here. Semis are right here, center stage, where everybody can see.
At the same time, or do they alternate them? Or?
They'll wait. So, like, if one match ends, so let's say I wrestle semis and I end up pinning my guy, then before they bring out the heavyweight guys, they wait until the other 197-pound match finishes before they bring the other guys out.
Yeah. And both of those are aired live on ESPN, I think. Something like that.
Yeah.
I never wrestled it, so I didn't know. But Mike here will have a better take on it.
No.
Hey, my boy TG's a beast though, man. He still is.
Well,
for me, Tariq's like a dart. Like, he just gets in on him, and then he flips it just like that. Again, I'm new to wrestling, and I've said that multiple times. But for me, it's insane. Like, it's just for him, it's speed, and then you talk Trent, it's just power. He's just, just bull rushes them, and obviously we'll talk about Trent in a minute, but it's really interesting to see the different weight classes and how the strategy and the technique is it's all wrestling, but how you get to the point is really interesting for me.
Tariq just has a good understanding of timing, right? Like, timing beats speed, right? So, like, he is fast, but his timing is phenomenal. And he just does a great job. He's also so long. He's able to create a lot of leverage, and he also works with Kevin Jack a lot, who you look at Kevin's game on top, man, just insane. Kevin used to ride the dog piss out of guys, man. Just kind of guys would just struggle to get off bottom because he was so long. He'd get that tight waist so deep and just it was like an octopus on you. And I think those guys spend a lot of time together. And Tariq is kind of like the same when he gets on top, man.
Yeah. Now, let me ask you one thing, though, because this is another thing I think that really separates college wrestling from every other college sport out there. And that's for those who have not watched a NCAA finals match, I highly ask you to go check it out, because one of the things I love is that, like, for example, like, let's say like there's a finals match between like Cornell and Penn State. Like, let's just say that. All right. Well, let's say Cornell beats Penn State. There's going to be tens of thousands of people cheering like crazy that Cornell guy won. Like, yeah, Cornell, and everybody. And so somebody that might not know what's going on be like, man, there's a lot of Cornell fans there. And I could bet you that probably 99% of those fans that are cheering are not Cornell fans. They're probably Iowa fans or Michigan fans or state fans.
Yep.
And because, I mean, you saw that this weekend, like with AC tournament, and that's what really made it interesting, because a lot of Virginia Tech fans sat on one side, a lot of state fans sat on the other. And so whenever there was a Virginia Tech person that lost, it was all the state fans. Yeah. And
the UVA fans too. And the UVA fans, and then like, the Carolina and Virginia Tech would root against us. And it was, so instead of having 500 fans, you had 1,000 fans, hypothetically. So that was an interesting dynamic.
So Tommy, let me ask you, I mean, does that play any kind of psyche at all? I mean, it's kind of like a weird dynamic thing, thinking that again, I mean, that, I don't know. Like, I can't even wrap my head around like, how do you, I mean, does that affect your game or your thought process whatsoever, when you're in a match like that?
I would like to think it doesn't, but I mean, I talked to a bunch of different guys that have wrestled at different universities and whatnot, and they'll say it do, but I mean, I think it depends on you. I think I remember I was in Oklahoma City in 2014 wrestling in the blood round. I think I lost to Jordan from Wisconsin, but one of my good friends now, James Green, got pinned by Ness on the mat right next to me. You remember how we were telling you about the format and whatnot? Right. The mat was to my right, I think, and I just heard all of the Minnesota fans just erupted. And I remember looking up. I was like, man, that was crazy. And it just distracted me for a split second. But I mean, I was pretty focused, so that tells you how much it kind of affected me. You know what I mean? So I would think with somebody else that doesn't have that same level of focus, it would kind of grab their attention a lot.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I got a question. Speaking of that, so like for me, not being on the mat, obviously, but when you have side by side wrestling going on and you hear whistles, how much do you have to be in tune to not realize that that's not your mat wrestle? Like how hard is that?
Hey, Greg, this is a great one for Mike. Mike, I'll let him take this one. I'll let Mark take this one. He's got a good story. It's a great story.
Something happened. Okay.
Maybe not a great story for him, but I like it though.
The whistle on the other mat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. All right. So my redshirt junior year, I was 184 pounds. My last year, 184. I was the 10th seed at the NCAA tournament. And I lose like in the quarters or in the round of 16 to the returning NCAA finalist. And I'm coming back on the backside. I'm in the blood round in the evening of day 2. So if I win, I'm an All-American. I wrestle day 3 to figure out whether I finish 3rd or whether I finish 8th, somewhere in between.
Yep.
And I'm wrestling a guy from Northern Iowa named Drew Foster, who's now a friend of mine. And I end up losing the match by 1 point, 3-2. There's only one takedown that was scored. But as we're wrestling, there's an exchange that happens, and I think in the second period, or in the third, I can't remember which period it was, and he's in on my leg, and I'm defending. And in my mind, I'm like, this dude's not taking me down. Not on this shot, at least, because I was in a great position. I had felt it soon enough. I had released my sprawl early enough to where he didn't get the corner on me, and so I was able to keep my hips out up front, and I was able to stay square. For wrestling fans and for you guys kind of to know what I'm talking about, like in terms of like the specifics. And so we're just sitting here. He's trying to fight and trying to get to the corner, and I have a deep whizzer and an overhook, and I'm preventing him from running corner. And after about 10 seconds of neither person advancing the position, the ref is going to stalemate the position and bring you back up to your feet.
Mm-hmm.
So at this point, we've been down long enough on the mat. I'm like, yo, where's this stalemate at, man?
Where's the whistle?
Like, I've been here forever, at least 10 seconds, and it's to the point where, like, I'm literally, like, waiting for the ref. Like, and I hear a whistle. And so then I stopped wrestling because I was waiting for the stalemate, right? I'm like, all right, cool. So then I stopped wrestling. My opponent, Drew, stops wrestling. And we both look up at the ref, and the ref looks back down at us and goes, Drew immediately runs through, scores the takedown. And that ends up being the only takedown of the match. And you hear Pat yelling from the side, what are you doing? Blah. Like just
he was hot.
Like, yo, probably about to have an aneurysm. Like you could see both of his carotid arteries.
At you or the ref?
It's like at me.
Got you.
Because I stopped wrestling, and it was a ref on a different mat that had blown the whistle.
Wow, that's a fascinating story.
And the ref on our mat looked at us like, what are you guys stopping for? I didn't blow no whistle. But we were both kind of like, we've been in the same position for at least 10 seconds. Like, yo, where's the stalemate coming? And we were both kind of waiting for it. When he looks up, he responds and recognizes faster than I do that, like, yo, that wasn't our whistle. And so he both capitalized and ends up scoring and wins the match by a point. And the lesson learned was I remember getting off the mat just like I was in tears a little bit, man, and just kind of like was obviously upset because I didn't AA. And in my mind, I was good enough to be an All-American, right? Like I had a top 5 win. I was a 10 seed. I had wrestled incredibly well that season, and for me to show up with nothing, to finish the year with nothing to show for it was just definitely heartbreaking. And the lesson learned for me was just kind of like, man, I'm not going to get off of my opponent or stop wrestling even when I hear the whistle. The ref is going to have to pull me off of his body or come and grab me before I stop wrestling through the position again. And so, like, that's kind of how I took the mentality my next year. And funny enough, Drew Foster ended up winning a national championship in 2019, the year after I won at 184 pounds. So it's not like he was a bad wrestler either, man. So
karma, I like
my
it.
apologies. My apologies for bringing that repressed memory back to life.
I wouldn't change it, man. I learned so much from it.
Every part's a learning moment. So, but I was just wondering that because sitting in the stands as a fan, it was distracting. Just looking back and forth, and so I appreciate that.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
So speaking of learning lessons, got to talk about another young guy that's been super impressive this year. I would actually say is probably the young gun of the year, and it's got to be Ed Scott, man. I mean, that guy's been unbelievable this year, and I mean, and especially too the fact that, I mean, because bringing up, kind of talk about both the matches. So the first match in the semifinals against Virginia, I remember watching that match, and my face was like, oh. So, like, whoa, like, cause I mean, like literally you saw Ed go on his back and the Virginia guy on top and you go, oh no, this ain't good. And then Ed just flips them and then gets the pin. It was just like and again, it just, that to me was just an example of, again, how can you not love wrestling? That literally you went from, oh my God, to like, oh my God, like, like it was just, I mean, I mean, talk to me from the wrestler side, Tommy. I mean, was that just like luck, or was it a lot of skill there? I mean, it just seemed like it was just kind of like that Virginia's momentum just kind of took him over. But I mean, I don't know. It was just so quick.
I think, it goes back to the style, man. That's Ed's style, man. He's wide open. Like a guy like that is hard to deal with because he's wide open. He's coming at you 100 miles per hour, no matter who you are. No matter if you're the 1 seed, 2 seed, 15, doesn't matter. So I think it's a little bit of skill, style, and just what am I trying to say? I guess just a little bit of both of those. Because it just wrestles like that, man. And when you wrestle 100 miles per hour, you end up in a lot of positions that you don't even expect sometimes. Like even myself and Mock, dude just hand fights hard and gets to positions and don't even expect it. You're just like, wow, I didn't even know I was going to get in on that shot. Now I finished it. And now this is getting easier. And that's kind of exactly how Ed wrestles.
Well, and I mean, what a perfect match to end on the ACC tournament, because I think that really gained a lot of respect for him at the national level. Because I think going into that match, because that match was that you knew that match was going to happen the entire year. When you saw S Guy and how good he was, and you saw Austin O'Connor, from Carolina, obviously he chose not to wrestle in the head-to-head duel, State versus Carolina, which for what reason, not really sure. But then when Ed Scott gets an opportunity on him, he takes advantage and beats Austin O'Connor, who was a national champion last year at 141. So I think it was like an eye opener for across the nation, So hats off to Ed on that. So kind of talking about now going to Thomas Bullard. So Mike, I want to ask you, with Thomas Bullard, it's definitely been an up and down year for him. I know that the start of the year wasn't the start that he wanted, but I'll tell you, man, one of the things I love about Thomas is he's got to be one of the best on top wrestlers. I mean, like him and his brother, man. I don't know what it is. I don't know where between Daniel and Thomas, they must have had the same coach, but they're both just like literally, they're one of the few wrestlers where if you get the choice of whether being bottom or being neutral, a lot of people will probably decide I'd rather be neutral than be on bottom and try and get the point, which I mean is impressive. That does a lot for you.
Yeah, they definitely weren't doing that to me whenever I had.
Yeah.
And so, man, I think Bullard, him and his brother both, like you said, are very tough on top. And I like that he came back and finished strong for third place at the ACC tournament. I think, especially for a senior, who, like you said, maybe didn't make the finals, which is obviously his goal, can be discouraging for you to have the ability to just kind of like suck it up and get back on the horse and wrestle tough the next two matches to come back for third place is a very, very hard thing to do, especially when you are a senior and it's your last year of eligibility. A lot of guys in that situation just kind of throwing the towel a little bit. And so I'm proud of him, man. I really am, for his ACC finish, even though it's not what he's wanted or what the coaches wanted. I know the staff has high expectations, and I know the athletes have even higher expectations of themselves. And so it is what it is, man. And quite frankly, the tournament that really matters is the one that's happening next weekend. So,
amen.
Finish third at the ACC tournament, but you podium or you win an NCAA title, I don't think you're really thinking twice about placing third at the ACC tournament. So it's another opportunity for him to go out there and showcase his talents and his ability and just wrestle every position to the best he can. And so I'm excited for him.
I love it. Love it. Before we continue, I want to take a quick second to tell you about our sponsor, Flatlands Jessup Insurance Group, that has your whole world covered, with agents in 5 offices throughout eastern North Carolina to help you decide how much coverage you need. Offering policies for home and auto, recreational vehicles, commercial, crop, health, life, and employee benefits. They are able to combine options to find a comprehensive solution that works for you. Flatlands Jessup protects the things you love so you can spend less time worrying and more time enjoying them. Find them on Facebook and Instagram at Flatlands Jessup. You can also visit their webpage at www.flatlandsjessup.com. So please make sure to go and check them out. So we'll see what happens. Yeah, no, I think you pretty much wrapped up Thomas Bullard there to a T. So which means I could bring up. But hey, now that means I could bring up one wrestler that I've been dying to talk about this entire episode, and that's Hayden Hidley at 174. And one thing I can't stop thinking about that is so one thing I saw on the podium was, first of all, when you saw basically Mekhi Lewis first, Clay Lout second, then Hayden third. And obviously it was a bummer to see Hayden third, because honestly I think that if you put Clay against Hayden on Sunday, that Hayden probably would have beaten Clay that day, so she probably would have gotten second. But like the one thing I love is that after they got off the podium, they actually all fist bumped each other. And because I mean that's the thing I love, man, is I mean, like first of all, it's awesome to see basically 3 top 10, top 15 wrestlers, depending on who you're talking to, in the ACC in the weight classes. That does a lot for the ACC. But I mean, also too, I mean, I love that Hayden, instead of, saying, hey, I could have stayed, 157 this year, been a 5-time all ACCer, probably without a problem, no issues whatsoever. I mean, because I mean, obviously I'm sure Pat and him had a conversation saying, hey, if you go here, you're going to compete against, Mekhi Lewis, you're going to go against Clay Lout, you're going to go against a much tougher weight class. And he said, I'm up for it. Let's go for it. And so again, as tough of a loss it was, the one thing which I said is it came down to one mistake. The first Mekhi Lewis NC Hayden match was one mistake by Mekhi Lewis. Hayden took advantage. Hayden made one mistake. Mekhi Lewis took advantage the second time. So it just really talks about how amazing of a wrestlers they both are. That was really my thought of that. It was a bummer, but it was like a wow. They're unbelievable. That was really
they're
my
on
thought
opposite
on it.
sides of the bracket, and there's a potential possibility that these two could meet each other in the NCAA finals.
Oh man. Whew. Dude. Sign me up.
Crazy, man.
Sign me
There's a
up.
good chance that he could get fine silver in the second round too.
Yeah.
So I mean, he could
hit both
have a
those
lot of
guys.
ACC matches. Yeah, absolutely.
Sign me up.
But it's crazy, man. That's usually how wrestling is, man. You get inside the top 15, top 10, man, it's a matter of one mistake.
Yep.
And it sucks. But once again, it goes back to how are you being trained? And we know all of our guys are being trained well. It's just you got to minimize those mistakes, man, especially at that tournament, man. You got to minimize mistakes and you got to capitalize every single time a guy makes a mistake or comes out of position. And that's one thing our coaches do a good job of just getting our guys ready. They tell these guys to lose the position on the action rather than not wrestling. So, and that just goes to show that these guys are ready, man. They're doing what they got to do to prepare everybody, and I think we're going to be there. We're going to make it happen. Hayden's got a tough match in the semifinal too. If we're looking ahead, but I think he's ready, man. I think he's ready.
I mean, you need to look ahead, right? That's the goal. I mean,
we do. Maybe not him, but we can though.
No,
we're
sure.
Absolutely. Yeah, of course. I mean, the one thing I think kind of stood up with me in the ACCs against Lewis is like Lewis. To me, Lewis should have been called for at least one or two stalls. I don't think that he went after Trent enough. Again,
Hayden.
Hayden, excuse me. Yeah, sorry, Hayden. And so it didn't give Hayden many opportunities to, come back after him and counter him. So that to me was just one of those, and I get it. Like, Lewis probably earned some of that respect because, he was a national, I think he won a championship, right?
He did.
In 19 or 20.
19.
But so I guess maybe he gets some of the benefit of the doubt, but I don't know. I thought we were kind of robbed in that match, but again, that's my biasness.
I mean, that's wrestling. Yeah, no, exactly.
I think that's one thing that frustrates me too about wrestling. It's so subjective. Like a referee, like that's the one thing. I mean, you get, the takedowns and, there's certain criteria, but then it's just a matter of, how the referee sees it. And every referee, we were talking about, you could wrestle the NCAA tournament 9 different times and get 9 different results. And depending on how you throw the different referees into the scenarios, right? Because that'll be a big thing on this whole thing is how different refs call different matches. So I don't know. It's kind of the intricacies of wrestling that are kind of fascinating.
Well,
nuance. There you go.
And Thomas Bullard. I mean, perfect example. AC tournament. I mean, last time I checked, Thomas had the guy's waist, and the opponent had both his hands on the ground, and I mean, it looked like a takedown to me, but apparently they said no. So it is what it is. So got to move on, just like Mock says, and bounce back and make the best and go get third place. So there's team points. There's still team points at stake here. So, so moving on to Trent. I think that was the biggest surprise that when we put out the brackets, everybody was commenting saying Trent at 3, like this guy won pretty much at least 2/3 of his matches with bonus points, and then it's ACC tournament. I mean, he rolled through everybody. There wasn't anybody that was beating him in the ACC tournament. So, but for me, my initial thought is, again, wrestlers are some of the most, I mean, I'm talking to two right here. Wrestlers are some of the most competitive athletes there are. And so a lot of people might say, yeah, I don't really focus on rankings. I'm going to take care of business. But I know Trent says, okay, number 3, you say, okay, we'll see.
He's taking it personally.
Oh yeah. Well, you got to.
Something he's concerned about. If I know Trent, he's like, yeah, just like you said. All right, bet.
3.
Sweet.
Okay. 3. Cool. Okay. Yeah.
Duly noted.
Yeah, exactly.
There you go, Greg.
That's right. That's the equivalent when you meet a guy on the street and wants to talk trash and he's talking a big game, like he wants to fight you, and you're like, you sure you want to do that, buddy? He's like, yep. You're like, cool. All right, let's step out, please. Let's step outside. You know what I mean? It's like
Yeah.
If you're really about it. So it's like, yeah, I feel like that's the type of mentality Trent's going to take when he sees that.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it goes kind of back to what you were talking about earlier, Tommy. Like the 1 and 2 seeds are both Big Ten guys, right?
Yeah.
So like let the little dogs eat each other and let the big guys get all the attention and save that for a potential finals matchup.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of what you were alluding to earlier.
And I think too, man. That's what. Not that it sucks, but that's the bad thing about the sport. But the good thing, the beauty of it all is you got to go out there and wrestle every match. So it really, as much as we say it matters, that's just as much as it matters, because it really does when it comes down to it. Because he's gonna have to wrestle every single round, and those guys are gonna hit each other eventually. Trent's gonna be one of those guys in the semifinals, and he's gonna take the ship home come Saturday night.
Guarantee
there it is.
There's going to not every single weight's number 1 seed is going to make the finals.
No, it ain't gonna happen.
There's no way.
Almost a guarantee that they won't, actually.
Exactly, right? Like, it's just that tournament is so crazy. There's so many variables. It's like, people were, it's nuts, man. And that's what it's like. People talk about March Madness. This is just as mad, man. This tournament is crazy.
I think it's mad times 10 because there's so many wrestlers in each weight class, right? So there's so many different storylines that'll probably come out of this, kind of like what you're getting at.
Yeah, yep. It's awesome, man. It's it's going to be, and out of a lot of the NCAA tournaments that in the past couple of years, like since I've graduated, I went to the last 2 NCAA tournaments. I didn't go to the most recent one last year. But since I've graduated,
spectators, Mike, you definitely didn't go to that one. Only family, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just know, like, this is one of the ones that I'm really, really excited for. I mean, there's just going to be so many good wrestling matches because there's so many good wrestlers in each weight. You got guys that wrestle at the senior level that are still in college that are going to be competing in this tournament too. And it's just going to be cool to see just, like, watch it unfold, man. Just the chaos. Like, just – I'm just excited to see how it all just comes out.
And because one stat that maybe that I know we've said during the wrestling preview when we all started all this, but I'll say it again, is that every wrestler that won the national championship last year in the weight class came back this year. So when have you ever seen that? Basically all the guys that basically won that stood on the top box said, I'm going to come back again. And again, I think that's kind of like back, like, when they talk about like the 1990s or 1980s in NCAA basketball, where the best of the best would come back. So it made the competition even better. So I feel like that's kind of what you're seeing this year with wrestling, is it's like, you're seeing guys like Hayden Hidlay that, any other year he probably would be the favorite to win the national championship. But this year they say there's 3 wrestlers better, and I guarantee you they probably say there's 3 wrestlers that are behind him that could compete with him. So it's going to be exciting. It's going to be a good one. So yeah, just to kind of touch on the schedule here. So once again, so it starts Thursday morning is the first matches. Then they'll have Thursday evening, Friday morning, Friday evening, and then Saturday night is going to be the big matches. So make sure to tune in, and again, just make sure to give us, make sure to stay tuned. And again, don't miss any of this. I'm telling you right now, it is going to be a great match. And again, just as a reminder, the best finish we've ever had is 4th, and I am expecting. I'm putting my expectations that I want us to finish 3rd or better this year. That is my expectation, and get at least 2 individual national championships, because I think that's the first time we would have ever done it in this program. And I'm telling you right now, I'm just saying, it's that stock.
I think it's attainable. It's attainable.
Absolutely is.
Yeah. No. Well, again, because we could talk about the favorites again of, I think, Tariq Wilson, Trent, Hayden, the Ed Scott, for sure. But again, all these guys, just like we. Yeah. Again, they all can do it.
Yeah.
And don't sleep on Isaac Trumbull either. I know we didn't have enough time to talk about Isaac Trumbull, but don't sleep on him. Don't sleep on anyone.
Don't sleep on him, man. That red and white's impenetrable, baby.
I love it, man.
Put it all on red. Put it all on red.
We built different out here in the South, man. We built different out here.
I love it. Well,
Hey, you guys got me excited for it, so like I appreciate it. Like this is, I mean, we did the live stream with Tommy, and I was like, I love wrestling now. It's like it's my new favorite hot sport. So
yes, sir.
I'm in, man. I'm in.
So one, I want.
Too, man.
What was that?
Bring a couple friends with you too.
Yeah, we'll definitely have to do that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we gotta pack Reynolds out next year, man. 5,500, right?
Hey, if we bring home a national championship, we will pack out Reynolds at that point.
There you go.
We got to keep breaking that attendance record every year.
That's it. That's
Absolutely.
a great point. Yep.
So I wouldn't be doing right by the followers if I didn't say, end with this final comment. That was for you, Mock. Daniel Hicks said he's excited that your brother's coming to NC State, and your national championship match is still his favorite match that he's ever seen. He was a nervous wreck watching and jumped out of his seat when you got to take down the final seconds. I think that was all of us State fans jumped out of our seats in those final seconds, man. So yeah, man. But again, thank you so much again, Maka and Tommy. Yeah, thank you guys for joining us.
Mention my buddy Tyree Hart, who's also a North Carolina native.
Yes, sir.
Man, the body of work, and you can ask Tommy Gantt, and Tommy Gantt can vouch for me here, that kid has put in since he's been here. It's been incredible to see him start out as a 184-pounder and not be a starter and just kind of like just chip away, being in the room, and then going up to 197 pounds the year afterwards and chip away and not be the starter, and then go up to heavyweight for the first time this year, put on a lot of weight, and manage to compete in a way.
Break the lineup first, too.
Yeah, to compete in a way that not only does the staff know and trust, and not only do his teammates know and trust, that he's going to go out there and he's not going to lay down for anybody.
Amen.
That kid is going to come out and he's going to fight tooth and nail for 7 minutes with no fear and with everything he's got, man. And, no one's obviously really talking about it. He's got that heavyweight weight class is one of the most stacked weights.
It is.
Oh, my God.
The country. And historically, this is like, they have a lot of great, phenomenal wrestlers. But
yeah,
I think I just want to, give some praise and some recognition to Tyree Houghton, being a North Carolina native as well. And he's actually from my county, so he actually went to Weddington High School, which is like 15 minutes from my high school. So we're from the same county. And in my personal opinion, Union County probably turns out probably the best wrestler in the state of North Carolina. Obviously, I'm biased, but we've had a lot of D1 kids come out of Union County, and Tyree was one of them. And he's come to NC State, and he managed to crack the lineup. And how many other North Carolina natives do you see in the starting lineup? On the top
that's the only one.
On the top four, right? And he's managed to do that. And so that's special in itself. And so I'm excited for him to compete at his first NCAA tournament as well.
And because one of the things I love about him too as well is that looking at his season this year is that he lost, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. He lost 8 times, but he never lost by more than 4 points. And any one of these losses, he never lost by more than 4 points.
And I don't think he even wrestled against Virginia. I think it was somebody else, because that was the match that I was at. I don't believe it was him that went against Virginia.
Tommy, was it Owen or
no? That was that was Owen. I think that was Owen.
That was Owen.
Yeah. I know it wasn't Tyree.
All 3 of those heavyweights are right there with each other. They're all tough, man.
Yeah, sucks we only had to pick one, but yeah, they're all good, man.
Deontay, Owen out there, they all wrestle tough, right?
Absolutely.
Coach the staff obviously had to make a decision, and yeah, man, just wanted to give some praise and recognition to the body of work that he's done it, because fans don't know the story on the backside and kind of what it's taken for him to get to this point. And it's awesome. I'm definitely proud of him as well.
I love it, Mike.
Well, we only let national champions go over time, so we'll make an exception.
Yeah, no, absolutely. No, don't be. No, again, at the end of the day, I appreciate you stopping me and saying, no, let's talk about him. So I appreciate it, man.
He's earned it.
Absolutely. No, absolutely. He's earned it. And same thing with Trumbull, and same thing with all these guys. Again, it's awesome to see the trajectory of this program, man. And obviously, hey, we got 2 wrestlers right here that had a lot to do with it. Just saying. So appreciate y'all,
Foundation.
man. Foundation, man. So again, Tommy, Mock, appreciate y'all both, man. Y'all have been awesome. Thank you all so much. And again, I think, again, it's gonna be exciting, man. I can't wait. I can't wait for this thing to start, dude. I'm telling
Agreed,
you.
man. No doubt. Hey, thanks for having us on, man. Thanks for having us on.
Yeah.
You guys, man.
Yeah.
Awesome.
No, we appreciate you.
Well, again, guys, just make sure, again, if you haven't already, make sure, again, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out whenever we release new in-state content. Give this video likes, so that way it puts the video in front of more in-state fans. And also to give us a follow, Tuffy Talk Now, as again, we will be tweeting like crazy for the NCAA tournament, man. So definitely, if you want to stay tuned with what's going on, give us a follow, man. It's going to be worth it, I'm telling you. So with that being said, hey, as always, y'all, go Pack, y'all. We'll see y'all soon.
Let's go Pack. Go Pack Wrestling.